Welcome, everybody. With all the incredible new feature enhancements for Spring 18, we can't possibly bring you everything live. However, we've got this special bonus content today featuring Einstein Analytics, and I've got the product teams here to cover all the great new features. So please, since we will be covering roadmap, we will be making some forward-looking statements, so make your purchasing decisions based on what's currently available in the product. And with that, let's introduce our product teams.
Thank you, Yuri. My name is Tim Bizalt. I'll be talking about the new data management features that are coming in Spring 18.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Ray. I'm going to be taking you through the new features coming to Einstein Discovery.
Hey, I'm Kim Shua, and I'm going to walk you through all the beauties from dashboard, exploring, and charting in Einstein Analytics.
Hi, I'm Dylan Tom, and I'm going to be talking about conversational explorations, saved views within embedded, and also analytics apps.
All right, let's get started. So I'm really excited to share the updates with you for the data manager side of the house. And we have many new connectors coming for the Spring 18 release. We have a list here on the slide deck. We have the existing six connectors, and we've been adding connectors to the Amazon RDS database flavors, and also Windows Azure SQL database, as well as the popular Snowflake data warehouse. In addition, we are currently piloting connectivity to Oracle Eloqua, SAP HANA, SAP SuccessFactors, and also Windows Azure data warehouse.
Awesome. That sounds exciting. So how can folks get access to these new connectors?
Great question. I think it is available. So all these connectors are available to regular platform users of Einstein Analytics. So all you need to do is, as I'm transitioning over to the demo here, is to turn on replication in your Einstein Analytics settings. In the settings page. Once you turned on replication, you will be able to benefit from these external connectors, as well as other benefits like multiple data flows. So it's really something worth looking into, and I encourage you to start taking a look at the replication feature, because it comes with many additional benefits. So what we're looking at here is the Data Manager homepage, and it shows you a list of all of the objects that are currently part of the Einstein Analytics data cache.
And this is in the demo.
This is in the demo, exactly. Okay, and we'll see also the connectors that you can set up from here. So I have a couple of connections already defined in my setup page here. And I can also add the additional external connections that we just learned are coming in the spring release. So we have the pilot as well as the GA connectors for the spring release here shown. So we have the Windows Azure connectors, the Amazon RDS flavors, Oracle Eloqua, and also Snowflake and Amazon Aura PostgreSQL Server Driver, for example. So from there on, once you define your connection and you're pulling your data into the Einstein Analytics data cache, they will become part of the replicated data cache. We've also made an improvement to our list of the existing data sets that you have available in your org. So we are also showing you the number of rows, for example, that are there in each of the data sets, and which specific app these data sets are available. And if you're an administrator with Manage Einstein Analytics perm sets, you can even see the title and the number of rows of data sets that are in folks' private folders. So that is new for, that is revamped essentially this data set list page for Spring 18. Let's move on to data flows and recipes. So for the recipe feature that's been available now for a couple of releases, we're continuing to make improvements over time. For example, for the winter release, we've added these wonderful profiles for each of the columns here, the profile views that you can also expand against the full data set. In this case, it's a 64 million data set row, and I can see all of the individual values that are available here for these recipes. Specifically for recipes, what's new in the Spring 18 release, we're actually adding a perm set for data analysts that allows them to use data prep recipes without having to have the powerful edit data flow permission set. So it's a bit more limited permission set for data analysts that won't be able to add some of these external connections that we've just learned about, or to configure replication. All they can do is really start creating recipes from data sets that they own and they can have access to. They create these recipes and then can transform and prep their data using this interactive user interface. For data flows, we've also made improvements to the graphical user interface. So I'm going to open up my customer demographics data flow here, and you can see in the visual user interface, you have your nodes shown here. The specific improvements here are a little bit more subtle for the spring release. For example, we added the ability to pick your fields from the specific object. This is a Salesforce object, and let's say I also want to pull in the name for my accounts. I can go in and then also modify the field properties for the specific field that I've just pulled in from Salesforce. And this is just another closing the JSON gap type of approach. But the big news actually for this feature is that once I hit save, I've just added an additional field to my node. It's prompting me, do you want to propagate this field through your data flow to the final data set? And I can say, propagate this field for me, which means now this field is being propagated through these different nodes into my final register step, which is writing that data set out. I can look up this field here, account.name. This is the field that we've just propagated through the list.
That's incredible. I mean, that's just a huge time saver right there.
Exactly. I think developers will be really happy about this feature. And then finally, we have the ability to also export data to Einstein Discovery. So we are really pairing up with our and creating a closer integration between Einstein Analytics and Einstein Discovery. So we can now start using our external connectors, our ability to replicate data from Salesforce, and then push this data into Einstein Discovery and define a user that is then allowed to pick up the data from there.
Okay, so my mind's just blown. That's super awesome, because now the folks that are using Einstein Discovery, all they have to do is just plug right into the connectors that are already set up through Einstein Analytics. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this capability.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that incredible demo.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jonathan, what do you have to share with us?
Could we pull up the slide real quick on the overview here? We'll run through. And what we have, just as a top level here, we've got a really exciting new pilot coming through, which we're going to be able to have native predictions within Salesforce, and really improving on our current managed package that we've had live for about a year now, but really taking that up a level, making it a lot easier, and improving the functionality there. In addition, we've been listening to our customers. We have expandable waterfall charts now where we can actually dig in and find some more insights that are available. And we also are bringing out UTF-8 support for our data sets, so we can handle more languages bringing data into Einstein Discovery. Let's cut over to a demo so we can actually walk through this live and see how this technology is working. All right, if you can see my screen here, what we have is a use case where we are flipping houses. And we're going through and we're trying to figure out, sure, there are some places where we can get information on the value of a property where there's an assessment value, there are some websites that obviously we can go to and see how much a particular property might be worth. But what we really want to do is understand in our data, when we go through and we improve a house, what is it really that we are able to capture? Where should we set our pricing for these properties that we're going through and updating? And how can Einstein Discovery really help us close that loop and be able to act more accurately on the pricing based on our own information? So what we can do here is we have our opportunity. We've tracked the property, how much it's been assessed for, some information about it. What we're going to do is go over to Einstein Discovery. We've already done some research on which realtors we should be working with, but we can connect directly into Salesforce here, pull up the property object, and go through and select the fields that we want to use for Einstein Discovery to be able to train this new model. Go through and select these here. Well, we see this is a very simple way to go through and make sure that we've got everything that we need to be able to really dial in and understand what's driving our outcomes. So we've got the data set here. Einstein Discovery has already gone through. It's recommending changes. It's found that there are some information here under broker. Everything's less than 1%. Maybe it's not that valuable to the analysis itself. I'm going to go ahead and drop that out. The other one, city, we know we're not doing a lot of business in these cities, so it's okay. We're going to go ahead and leave those in for the sake of this analysis. And then we're going through and updating the data set. So very quick to be able to get some feedback on our data and jump right over into creating a story here. In this case, obviously, we want to maximize our price. And we're going to help Einstein Discovery tell it here. We can select our realtor. We can select, are we going to renovate the bathrooms? Are we going to renovate the kitchens? These are decisions that we make in our business. So those are things where we can really impact that outcome. And we're ready to make a story here. Einstein Discovery has gone through and identified nearly 1,600 graphs and drill downs. The number dropped down because Einstein went through and did statistical checks, saw where there was enough data to complete an analysis, and now it's actually brought it down. If we were to lay over 700 graphs and drill downs on the table, we'd be here for a couple weeks trying to go through. So Einstein is surfacing for us the strongest patterns that exist within our data so we can go through those. But we still have access to all those additional stories. We can dig down that layer deeper once we get in there and see patterns that are interesting to us and really get a clear picture of what's going on with our data. And here we see Einstein's already completed not just the backwards look at what's happened in our data, but also put together a prediction model that we're able to use to really understand what's going on in the pricing. We see here that the assessed value actually does have quite a bit of informational value in determining how much the property is going to be worth ultimately. We see there's some interaction here with the number of bedrooms in conjunction with assessed value. And now we see bedrooms. Okay, it makes sense that having more bedrooms is a better thing, but we have a little bit of a question here in why 1 to 3 bedrooms is nearly as beneficial as 3 to 5. So what we can do is one of the new functions that we have is we've always had why it happened, but we really want to understand on those bedrooms what's going on. And we see here quickly that state is California. That's providing quite a bit of this uplift, explaining most of their variation here. And that makes sense. Our business strategy, we're getting in, we're flipping houses in metropolitan areas in California, tend to be a little bit more expensive than in the rest of the country. So Einstein Discovery has identified that, and we're able to add that directly into the story to understand what's going on. But one of the things I know a number of our customers out there using Einstein Discovery today are going to be really excited about is we have this purple bar where we analyze so many interactions. There are 610 terms in this purple bar. Obviously, it's impossible to expand all those at once to be able to view them, but our customers have been asking for the ability to get a layer deeper. And in fact, we've added that for Spring 18. We can go through, expand that, and it now you see reduces this purple bar, brings it down to now only 607, and it's brought out for us the top 3 terms that were behind that purple bar, allowing us to go just that layer deeper and get a better understanding of what's going on with our data. All right, now moving into the exciting pilot that we have for Spring. We've had the ability to write predictions and recommendations into Salesforce for quite a while now using a managed package. It's able to call out to AWS, but we are moving that prediction model into Salesforce. And with that, we have the ability to go in and deploy the model. Now, I want to set this is my Spring 18 model. Each time I go through an update, I can remind myself of what it is. But incredibly powerful here is not only are we able to click through to deploy these models now as opposed to modifying the managed package and putting together the story ID number, we can actually go through and set filters. So if I want to go through here and set a limit, so this model is only applying to properties with an assessed value of $1 million or more, I can do that. So we can have multiple models segmenting different groups. So we can have very focused models to be able to provide that right assessment. I'm going to turn that off for the demo here. Just click over, and here we're deploying. So again, no more going back, working with the managed package, adjusting story numbers. Now we're already set up, putting that right back into Salesforce. Well, let's take a look. We had our original use case where we wanted to know, are we supposed to, or should we renovate our bathroom on this particular property? What I can do is now, by going in and editing this page, I have the ability to grab a standard Lightning component, drop it right here into my page, go back, and here we have it. Our price prediction is already available to us, and we see right here Einstein is recommending that we could see nearly $7,000 more if we were to renovate our bathroom. So we can take that action right here, renovate the bathroom, go ahead and save that, and you see our price prediction has updated and our recommendations have changed, allowing us to very quickly turn this around. And again, I touched on UTF-8. We are supporting datasets there now as well. So in our example company here, opening up a new branch in Korea, we can now take the names natively. We don't have to translate them back to English, and they can surface right within the write-back capability, be able to analyze those as well, understand it in the native language. So very, very powerful. For those of you who have Einstein Discovery, definitely try out these new features. And those who haven't gotten your hands on yet, absolutely go out, take the trailheads. We have 3 of them out there now. Run through and see what you can do with this product.
This is really incredible, Jonathan. I mean, not only are people able to deploy a model with just a few clicks, but they're able to implement their own segmentation in those models as well. And the UI just looks super user-friendly, like really well done. I was worried that you wouldn't be able to top Tim, but you guys are kind of running neck and neck right now. So I have a question for our customers out there. I'm sure they're excited and they want to know, how can they get into this pilot?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who has Einstein Discovery today, we know a lot of you are very interested in this functionality. We've heard requests, so just reach out to your contacts at Salesforce and just request to be put on the list to get into this pilot, and we'll get you going.
All right. Thank you so much. So, Kim, you've got a top act to the top here. What do you got for us?
That was super exciting. Yeah, I'm excited to tell all my French friends about the UTF-8 support so that they can have all their accents up and running. That's amazing. Yeah, so I'll try to do my best, but there were so many things pretty awesome already going on. So I'm going to cover more on the exploration pieces and on the dashboarding and really like consuming all those interesting information and data sets. And so if I were to flip here to an interface that some of you might be pretty familiar with, for those of you that actually has Einstein Analytics. So I'm exploring my data. I'm here. I have like the Sales Analytics application open. When you're doing the review and when you're actually going and analyzing all this data in these dashboards, you might do a lot of filtering, and some of you just might do always the same. So say I'm actually Bill Johnson. Every time I'm going to open this dashboard, I want to click on this filter. So what we did for you so that you can really go faster and share more of this knowledge is what we call saved views. So here, as I'm filtering into my dashboard, I can actually save the view and call it Bill's view or anything. So here I'm Bill's view. Say I'm going to filter on Sam. If I were to be Sam, I can also save this view, and I can actually use it so that it's my default view. So every time I want to open this dashboard, no more clicking and filtering around, I can see my view. So that's one pretty powerful feature that we are excited to provide to you. Along with other features, I'm going to just go a slightly bit deeper for some of those more advanced users. So if we were to flip to the slides real quick, we have a lot of amazing features on the visualization piece, which is like the front view of what everybody's seeing when they analyze their data. And we also have, taking a step back, a lot of features available across the board, on dashboard, on charting, on Explorer, and all these different pieces that comes together. And I think no more than actually slides, I would love to walk you through all those features and see how you can navigate all these beauties.
Yeah, we want to see it. We want the demo.
Oh yeah, demo it is. Let's sell a dream. So basically, this is the new Explorer. So I think a lot of you have seen that a lot. So whenever you want to explore your data and get some insights, you click on these data sets, and you used to see an interface that is pretty much heavily changed. And we're really excited to like provide to you guys and really get your feedback. So if I can like just scroll through and kind of like highlight the different pieces of this interface. So you see here on the top left, I have my dataset names. So you know, it's one of those features that doesn't seem that big, but that can be pretty painful when it's not there. You have a lot of different lenses, a lot of exploration, and you're like, wait, what data set is it actually? So now, with just a glance, you can see what it is, and you can access all those XMD features, which actually allows you to do a lot of powerful configurations on your datasets right for a click, UI only. And some of you might be asking, like, wait, horizontal axis, vertical axis, trellis, what the hell is that? Yes, it's changing. So we have a new way you can actually configure your visualizations. So before it was just buckets when you can say, hey, here's my measure, here's my grouping. But it was a bit difficult to say, hey, this actually goes into this part of my visualization. So now you have full control. So here, for example, I'm actually visualizing a bar charts, so I can configure what goes to my horizontal axis, my vertical axis. I can even control trellis from there. And what's interesting here is as I'm actually changing and going into the different charts. So first of all, you might have noticed the amazing transition, which is called morphing. And you also notice that the buckets on the left changed, right? I don't have axes anymore. I have like segments that I can control either the size or what am I segmenting by. And it's the same. If I were to go to a tree map, same, it's a segment. If I were to go in a different thing, say lines, you see now I have the axis coming back, and I have another thing which is called lines. So not only I can control which goes to which axis, but I can actually say, hey, I want to see whether my opportunity is closed or not, and just line by that. So you see, you really get to the next level of details on how much you can configure which data goes to what. And what I'm pretty excited about too is the ability to actually really get further down in terms of navigating the visualization. So say here, if I were to add another matrix, as we can do in lines, before it was very limited. So you could only switch to the chart type that would respect that. But now we give you that freedom. So what we're going to do, say I want to flip to donuts again. Whoa. I'm not saying, hey, you can do that. Yes, you can. We're just going to do our matrix and flip things around so that you have the right visualization. So if you see here, I've been trellising on one measure, and I've added the addition field. I'm kind of like hidden one of the measure because donut only support one measure. So you see, you don't have to think and say, wait, what should I do? Which measure supports what? Just click around and move things around. And again, if it's not exactly what you want it for, say I want to trellis by closed values, just drag it around, drop it like it's hot, and you can have it in here.
Super slick.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have a mic, unfortunately it's on me, so I can drop it. But it's not done yet, because that was just one part. And again, as I mentioned, there's a lot of things we really moved around in the UI. So moving on more on the right side, remember before we introduced last release the concept of recommendations, because we're not all data scientists, and we don't have to, because Salesforce is here to help. And so we embedded these capabilities of recommendations. So it's now in a more intuitive right panel. So you have the recommendation straight from there. And something we kind of like leveled up, it's the history aspect. You know, we really believe in the concept of exploring your data and really getting to the bottom of what you're looking for. And it's going to be a conversation. So you're going to go back and forth and see like what the hell is going on. So we have this built-in history feature where you can see and actually visually see what happened into your visualizations, and you can have a screenshot. You can even have an amazing screenshot of the animation. So that's one thing. And again, if you want to take it deeper and go into more the formatting aspects of your visualization, it's in the same place. You have all the configurations you know and love. So that's kind of like what's going on in Explorer. Hope like I gave you a high-level overview about the new things, and I can go in all details about everything because there's too much to talk about. I'm just going to switch gear a little bit and look at it from a dashboard angle. Again, so I have this pretty awesome dashboard here, and if I'm editing around, some of you might have noticed this small annotation here. Yes, it's actually called chart markers, because not only you can visualize the data, but you might know and want to highlight part of your data. So we added this feature which is called chart markers. If I were to edit this dashboard and go into the property panel here, I can annotate the charts in the way I want. Say here, I have a main event, I have a spike here, which I know it's coming from something. I can show the measures or the dimensions, but I also can show custom text. So I'm saying, hey, so I can say the event on this date happened here. I can add the amount, and note that this custom text feature is also available in tooltips. So now as you're overlaying the different data, you can really mix and match. And remember before when we had the additional field concepts, you can also add those different measures and put it into the popovers. So that's one aspect. And again, on the charting side, we also provided you the ability to have more ways to visualize your timely information. So when before it was only timelines, now you can also have like time bars and time combos where you can really configure how you want to visualize those time concepts. And you see how the axis here is optimized. So that's some of the aspects in the charts. If I were to just flip it around and show you what some of you actually may be aware of and know, again, what I love about Salesforce is, as you were mentioning before, if you want to learn something or do something, we're showing you something, but you can learn on your own. So you see here, I have a couple of icons on my charts, and I can drill in my different countries and zoom in into the charts. You want to do that, there's a trailhead for this. You can go in trailhead, go in projects, and you can have you follow the trail and get to your own version of that would fit your need. And so what I'm pretty excited to show you with this release and what we added is the ability to have images on tables, right? So before where you added grouping in this table, you would have to just have it look in a pretty bad way. But what if I go here and I go in the column setting? I can actually select my column and choose to have it as an image. Voila, here we go. So basically, you have all these more powerful information that you can show in the dashboard. It could be profile pictures like here. It could be external images that are uploaded to Salesforce in this other use case. Couple of things I want to highlight before I hand it over to all the awesomeness from Dylan. So remember in here, some of you might have built a lot of different dashboards and use what we call bindings to do more dynamic things for simple things like sorting on a chart, right? Here, I have my different industry, and I might want to say, hey, I want to filter and really order it by count of opportunities. No need to do bindings, no need to be a crazy scientist. Just click on axis title, and you can sort it. So basically, we would loop through the different items and make sure you can have the right sorting. So even as a consumer of a dashboard, you can do that on your own. If I were here to just flip it real quick to a compare table, one thing, which is maybe the most advanced thing I want to cover in here, is the ability for formula. Before formula, we had to do it from the lines in the table. Now you can actually use word field and really go crazy. It's actually pretty simple, which I'm excited about. So here, if I were to edit this column, I can say, I can do, let me see, a percentile. And I can use it on the owner. And with just a few clicks, so here I can use a percentile, and with just a few clicks, I can just have my, my formula running. So that's a lot to cover. I hope it was not too much for you. And you gotta like go crazy and do it on your own. Again, Triality is here to help. And that was part of like what we're bringing this release.
Excellent, excellent. I think those are really incredible features for the analysts. They can do some really advanced visualizations now that they weren't able to before, and just the entire UI has just become so much more intuitive. And I wonder, is there any way that Einstein Analytics can become even more intuitive? Like, what's the next step for Einstein Analytics?
Yeah, that'd be awesome if you can talk to your data.
That's a great question, and that's exactly what we've been working on. It's in the feature that I'm going to talk through right now.
I don't believe you, Dylan. I'm going to need to see some proof.
Well, I don't know. It's a tough act to follow. I hate being lost, but hopefully conversational explorations is really going to knock your socks off. So one thing to note, though, is that what I'm going to be covering right now is a beta feature. So it's only available for Einstein Analytics platform users, but the admin will need to go in, and if you I'm going to just demo how you can set it up as well. Pretty easy. Just go into Analytics and Settings, and then there's an option that says Enable Conversational Exploration Beta. So once you've got that up and running, your users will be able to query their data using more natural language conversations. So that's enabled in my demo org here, and you'll see a new little icon that looks like a little bit of a compass, and it says Show Conversations. So as an end user, I can go ahead and click on that, and it's going to open up this new panel. What I want to do, though, is switch gears from what Kim was looking at and look at a different dashboard, because I'm going to say that I am more on the sales side and looking at sales use cases. And so I open up my out-of-the-box Sales Analytics app, and this is my first dashboard, and I see some numbers here, but I want to ask some questions. I want to know more. Another thing to bear in mind with the conversational explorations is it's focused on the data set that's included in the dashboard that I'm looking at, because it's contextual. So I'm interested in sales and obviously opportunities. So now I can see here the questions that I ask and the queries that I will get answers to are going to be on the opportunities data set. Just getting started, I will click on here in this little input box, and it starts giving me some suggested questions that I can ask or queries. And so some of the types of things I could do, like a percentage breakdown, or I could do a rank, or I could also just look at, how many records do I have, or I could do a top 5 or bottom 10 or something like that. And so all of these are just showing me, these are sample types of queries I can ask my data, but they're actually, as you can notice in here, pulling out some of the, as we call them, fields or dimensions and measures that are in that opportunities data set. So it's actually using with the data set that I can query. So if I wanted to look at, and this might not be that exciting, but show me the number of records by owner role. So then I can go ahead and do that. And you can see what it's doing is giving me that answer right in a visualization right there. And that one isn't too interesting because I'm not sure what that field owner role name path is, but it's in that data set, so it surfaces it up as an example. So what I'm going to do is just go and clear that out and then say, let's ask it, what type of things I would want to converse with my data. And so I think one thing I want to know, it's opportunities, so amounts. Amount is a key sort of metric that we want to look at. So if I just type in amount, you can see it's getting highlighted there. But if I just do the measure name like amount, it's going to sum it. That's how it's going to aggregate it for you. But I might want to be a little more specific and say the average amount. So I could type AVG or average or whatever, and amount, amount. And so now we can see I've got a whole lot of other suggestions here, and it's saying to me, do I want to do less than, greater than, or between? And so why don't I go and do something like that? So what's the average amount between, if I could type, I shouldn't be demoing this, but anyway, my typing is so bad, between, and now it's going to give me suggestions. The lowest value I have in this data set is negative whatever, a lot, but I can type anything in here, so I'll say 10, and now it's telling me the highest value is maybe 16 million or something like that, so I'll just do 100,000. But it's giving me those guides as I'm typing, it's giving me all these kind of suggestions. So that's not too exciting. I've got amount between 10 and whatever. So let's look at the other things it was telling me. I could do an and. What and does is it says now I can do average amount and sum of or amount. So that's giving me, and I can keep on doing more and more of these. So these are just adding more and more measures in here. So I got average amount, sum amount, I got min amount, max, all those kind of aggregations. But then that's also not too exciting. The other suggestions are telling me by. So there's a keyword of by, and that one is really going to allow me to take that measure, like amount, and say, how do I want to group it? Do I want to see it by account name or rep? And so it's giving me all the dimensions that I have here. So account name sounds like a good one. So I can say, what's the average amount by account name? And then I could also add some more to that as well. So now I can see that. But sometimes that's a lot of results. And then the other thing I want to do is by account name, and maybe I want to filter those results down because I've got too many accounts. And so then I can use the for keyword, which is sort of, that's going to say, I want to filter this. And for maybe product, because I've product name, and my product name, and now I've got all these options of contains, equals, matches, all those kind of things. And so if I say product name, and I'm short, so I'll just say in. And now these are all the values that are in my product name. So I know that I have cables, cases. So these are the actual things I have in my data set. So I want to say what's the average amount by account name for this product, which is cases. So let me go in cases. Oh, let me choose cases. So now I can see that. And so what I've done is I'm creating these visualizations. I'm able to filter them by metrics like greater than, less than, or ranges between. I can filter it by specific values that are in those dimensions as well. And then I can also do things maybe a little more interesting where I can do the top or bottom results too. So I can say top 10 accounts and by amount. And so what that allows me to do is just give me those top 10. And so once as you can see, I'm just typing in here and exploring, and it's surfacing up things that are suggestions that I can query and related to the data set that I'm looking at. And once I've done that and I've got some sort of visualization, I can take that further where I can now share that with someone and collaborate on it, or I could save that as my answer, or I could also explore that further, and I'll show you what that looks like. And so the other thing is just to note that the visualizations are always coming out as sort of a bar chart or something like that. But if we do a rank, like the count of opportunities by the, let's do account name again. Now it's going to show this as a table because it's wanting to show me that these are all the number of opportunities I have for each account, and then it's showing me the order in there as well. So what I could do is then take that table now and explore it. And so this is where what Kim was showing, that now I'm in this Explorer interface, and it can give me, I can go and take suggested charts and how to visualize that ranking that I had there as well. So it's got that fluid sort of ask the questions naturally, and then go in and then make it so that you could put that in a dashboard and share that out with a whole lot of people as well. So that's taking us into as I mentioned, a beta feature. We're super excited to get it out there and get feedback from all our customers, and so that we can add more skills and keep on improving on that as well. I'm going to quickly change gears here to what Kim was mentioning, which was those saved views. I think it's an incredibly powerful feature that you don't have to create lots of dashboards because you want your view of that dashboard. You use the same dashboard and save the view that you like of it. One thing that the questions we've got though is, where's that available? Is it just available in the studio that you showed? And that's not the case. We can actually go wherever you've embedded the dashboards, and now I'm going to switch to the demo and see I'm a community user, and I have a dashboard that's embedded, an analytics dashboard embedded in the community. And now if I start playing around with this and say I want to see my stats for the year to date, clearly I don't have very many of those, but as you can see, the modified is here. I can save the view. And another lot of feedback we got from community customers with Einstein Analytics is just to be able to reset that view, and so that comes as part of that feature as well. So if I saved the view in here, every time I came to this community and saw this dashboard that's embedded in here, it could be my view that I wanted of that, which is incredibly powerful. And then what we can do too is one thing to note is when we look at this, this dashboard is embedded in a certain area, and so the thing is, if I start managing the view here, like saving as Kim did before, we need that dashboard where it's embedded to be in a big enough space to handle all the management of it. So if it doesn't, we ask, you will get a notification saying to go to the full screen view of it, where you could set up those notifications. So that's something to bear in mind with the real estate of managing saved views. And then the other extension of that feature, which is also really exciting, is that if I started making some selections in a dashboard and I don't save them as a saved view, but I still want to share that to Kim, then I can go into the share dialog, and when I get that URL, you'll notice that we've added to it, and we've added no one really reads the URLs, but just to know that it's happening, we have the save view ID, and so when you copy that URL and then share that with someone, when they open the dashboard, it was where they last were. So all the settings that the filters and selections they had made are going to be on top of that dashboard, and then they'll have the opportunity to wipe them out if they don't want them, but at least it's what you saw is what everyone else is going to see as well, which is a great new feature. And that happens when you post a feed or get the URL too, within the sharing. So I've gone through some great features there on extending analytics and communities with saved views, and then also that conversational explorations. Gonna switch gears yet again and now talk about apps. So what we do is from the apps teams, we take all these amazing features and then pull them together in the templated content around service, for example, or sales. And so I wanted to start off with sales. And for sales analytics, the new features that have come out here, one of them is really around trending, and I'm going to go into the team trending dashboard. And just this dashboard or variations have been out for a while, but the biggest problem we've had is customers with a custom amount field have not been able to take advantage of this. It's not set up to allow you to do that. So now if you do go in, and I will, excuse me if I get a little too much into the setup side of things, but if you go into historical trending and you do have your opportunity object and you have a custom field set up where you like to trend it, if this is all set up, say total ACV is my custom amount field that I'd like to trend in Service Analytics, then when you go into Analytics, and you set up the Sales Analytics app, now you'll see here this amazing waterfall chart, which my pipeline, which shows me what's where I started and where I am today, what's moved in, what's moved out, is using a custom amount field, which is extremely valuable to a lot of our customers. So that's happened, and then what we've also done too is made it much easier to edit your dashboards, because there's a lot of complexity behind this dashboard, and we've kind of not stripped it out, but made it a lot easier to edit. And so what it means is, as a user, I can come in here and say, I wanted a different filter. So I can go in, I can clone that, and you can see now I have another filter here. I'll just go and remove this step and choose something else, like say forecast category. Now that that's added in here, it's called record type, but don't worry about that because I have to change the name of it. But when I go in here and say best case now and update the dashboard, you'll see the whole dashboard is updated by that new filter that I just on the fly added to it. So everything is connected or faceted, and without me having to go and do some JSON or bind things together or in the queries, it all just works really, really well. So some great improvements from a customization perspective here. But how did we actually create those dashboards? I'm sure those who are familiar with apps will know this flow, but for a lot of you who don't, you go through an app creation process, which is so sometimes I'm going to catch myself and call it a wizard, but it's the configuration tool here, and what it allows you to do is it does some scans of your org and goes through and says what kind of features you have and what we can develop from what sort of dashboards we can put together for you. What we've done is we've really improved this wizard to provide more information. It tells you once it's run these scans, you have these features available in your org, so we're going to build these dashboards for you, or we're going to take advantage of these things in the app that we're creating for you. So a lot more attention's being, so this can prevent errors from happening. And then the other big feature that we've had customers ask for is that we create these amazing data sets and the data flows within this app template. So you don't have to go and build it yourself. We do it for you. So we do a lot of heavy lifting. But we've heard customers saying, the data sets you create are so cool, but can we just add some more fields to, say, the user data set or the activity one or the opportunity one? And so now within this wizard, it's as quick as just saying, these are the fields, add them in. So it's a multi-select, and you just keep on adding onto my user data set, activities, opportunities, and cases. So you can freeform do that within the wizard, and then as you saw with Tim and the data prep side, all of that's going to be handled for you. We pull those into those nodes, and then in the data sets, you'll have those fields ready for you to explore through the Explorer interface. So that's a big improvement as well. And then with that, while we're looking at the wizard side of things, I wanted to show the big improvement from a service analytics app. So service analytics, we have also got this new wizard or configuration wizard, and it does all these checks to say whether you actually have some cases and they're closed. And then also, do you have queues or case history or opportunities, all those kind of things in your org. If you do, we're going to build dashboards and metrics around them. If you don't, we'll tell you you don't have them, and maybe you should get them. But anyway, so then the other great thing is you have this ability to create a basic app, which is really just one question. We ask you, how do you really categorize your cases from a very high level? And once you've answered that question, you pick the field you want, that's it. We develop 16 dashboards for you, all the data flows, everything for this complete set of service analytics. And and that's all you had to do was choose one thing. And so that's great to get you up and running. Obviously, you're going to come back and now want to customize it, but it's so nice having a reference point of what's being created, and now you know what you want to customize afterwards. So that's really having that basic option is a big time and productivity saver. So, but then you can come back and customize it and choose additional features you wanted to include in there. And that's from a wizard perspective. A couple key other things for service analytics, which is being added in there, and I can go to an app that was just created, is that now you can do reporting on chat and live agent. So you know how your agents are interacting and creating and chatting. So now we get all the feedback from that. And what we can see in analytics is we have a new metric that's being launched, which is number of concurrent chats, which means that I, as an agent, when I'm dealing with, I can have 4 chats open at one time. As a manager, I want to know that because maybe their productivity isn't that great when you have too many. So we can look at using this new number of concurrent chats, I can see at a point in time for a specific person, maybe we should set a lower limit, and so we should only allow people to do 3 because then we see the average handle time is going off the roof or something like that. So key metrics that we've added to this, the data set within service analytics. Then one thing what we wanted to do too on the app side is just show you, we've also been working on field service analytics, and the last release we showed a couple dashboards in there, and now if we switch over to the slides, in the slide deck there, field service has a new backlog analysis, so look out for this dashboard. It's going to be really powerful. What we're showing in this dashboard is going to be the demand versus the capacity. So of your field field service technicians that are out there, how much are they actually, you set up what their capacity is, but how much is actually being used. And a unique thing that we have as well is that we can say that capacity actually includes the historical average travel time and your vacation and training within the capacity, which is pretty unique to us. So it gives you way more accuracy as well. So look out for that dashboard coming in the Field Service Analytics app. So that's all I had to say. I spoke really quickly, so hopefully everyone got that.
That was amazing. I mean, we hit on field service, we hit on service, we hit on sales from the app perspective all the way down to the individual user and how the experiences are becoming more intuitive. And then we saw Einstein Discovery and all the new capabilities of being able to push this AI and intelligent models into the traditional Salesforce apps all the way down to integrating across all the different data sources, data that's both inside of Salesforce and outside of Salesforce, and bringing that all into Einstein Analytics. I think you guys might be a great team. This is really impressive. Thank you so much. This has been fantastic. I mean, are there any other things that you guys want to share with us before we sign off?
No, absolutely. No, just look forward to the release notes, essentially as a more detailed follow-up to what we presented today.
Yeah, and also a lot of this is in trailheads too. So
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. The trailhead for Einstein Analytics and Einstein Discovery are incredible. You can go in right now onto Trailhead and get your hands on these incredible features. So make sure you check those out. And keep an eye on our roadmap because, as you can see, this team delivers. So thank you for joining us here for the Einstein Analytics review of Spring 18. We're looking forward to having you back here for Summer 18.